Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day? Happy Wednesday. I hope y'all had a good long weekend. It feels like it's been forever since I've done this. So I might be a little rusty to start off. Um, Thanks so much for joining. Thanks so much for joining. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. We are going to be getting into it, y'all. Listen. I am going to be talking all about why your second income stream hasn't happened yet. If you are ready for this conversation, do me a favor and drop Yeti ready in the chat. Let's do a quick tech check. If you can see and hear me okay, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up because it has been too long since we've had a live conversation, okay? Let's get into it. I'm going to do a bit of storytelling today. So I want you just to stick with me. I want to start off by talking about a woman who recently sent me a message. And this is a message that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. So the message that was sent to me, it said, I don't understand why I cannot make myself move. And when I read that message, I knew exactly what she meant because from the outside, the woman who sent this message, her life looked good. She has a good job. She is smart. She is respected. She is stable. She is the kind of woman that everyone assumes has it all figured out. But underneath all that was this quiet, low key panic that she could barely explain. And it wasn't because she was failing, right? It was because she could feel herself settling. And that feeling, that I feel like I'm settling feeling, it is becoming incredibly common among women right now. And it's not in a dramatic burnout kind of way or a complete collapse kind of way or some movie version of a crisis. This is just what I'm seeing, a growing awareness that your entire life is sitting on one income source and one decision that you don't fully control. I'm talking about one company, one boss, one reorganization, one strategic shift. You see me with these air quotes. One budget meeting that you weren't even invited to. And even if nobody says it out loud, your body knows it. And that's why some of us, we wake up anxious before our feet even hit the floor. That's why Sunday evenings feel so heavy for some of us. That is why you could be a high earning woman, but you still feel financially unsafe. And this is the reason why you keep thinking there has to be more than this. And what's crazy is that most of the women that I talk to, they already know what they want to build. It happened to me over the weekend, but that's the part that nobody talks about enough. This isn't usually a confusion problem, y'all. It's not a problem that you don't have any ideas or you don't know what you're good at or you don't know what people need or what you could help them with. Because most of the women that I talk to, they already know this. Like you already know what people come to you for. You know what you're naturally good at. You know the skill that people compliment you on constantly. You know the thing that you've been thinking about monetizing for 2 years. You already know these things. But the thing about it is, you still haven't moved. And that is the conversation that I want to have today. Because a lot of women, they have been misdiagnosing themselves. Like you keep thinking the issue is discipline or confidence or consistency or information. But I personally, in my experience, I don't believe that's the real issue at all. The real issue is deeper and honestly, it's more emotional than that. So today I want to talk about why so many brilliant women stay stuck. I want to talk about why one paycheck creates more fear than people even realize. I want to talk about why overthinking feels productive, but it is low key stealing years from your entire life. And I want to talk about what finally changes when you decide you are no longer willing to build your entire future around one stream of income. Is it okay with you if I get into that today? Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. If you are watching live, drop your city in the comments because I want to know who is in the room today. And I want you to stay with me because I'm just going to be clear, be very honest right up top. This episode is probably going to feel a little personal for you. So, welcome back to another episode of Nick at Noon. My name is Nick Scott. I'm the founder and CEO of Her Income Edit, where we help women turn the skills that they already have into coaching income, digital products, and multiple streams of revenue beyond a traditional paycheck. And if you are a woman who is successful on paper, but you're quietly questioning whether your career is enough to protect your future anymore, you are exactly who this conversation is for. So if you haven't already, I want you to go get your notebook and your pens or pop open a notes app on your phone or whatever it is that you take notes on. I want you to text the link to this video to your biz bestie. And I want you to stay with me because this is not going to be surface level motivation. This is the conversation that's beneath the conversation. And before we get into it, I need to tell you that registration for Her Income Lab, it closes on Friday, y'all. We have been talking about this thing literally for 2 months. We are going to meet live on Saturday, May 30th for a 3-hour workshop. And I'm going to help you build your coaching offer in real time. I am not going to be teaching theory. This is not going to be another course that you never finish. You are going to walk in with experience and skills and knowledge and expertise, and you're going to walk out of that workshop with an offer. General registration is $147 and VIP is $297. And Friday, the doors are closing. So if today's conversation hits anywhere, somewhere deep within your spirit, I don't want you to sit with that for another 6 months. I want you to act on it while that feeling is still real. The link is below for Her Income Lab. And I will be talking about it a little bit more later in this conversation. But for now, let's go on and get into it, okay? Let's get into it. So, hello, 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 AA Art to Assets. Thanks so much for joining. Good afternoon, Queen, listening from Ohio. I am here in Denver, Colorado, per usual. Thanks so much for joining. I appreciate you every time you show up. So, one of the hardest experiences for ambitious women is realizing that success didn't create the emotional security that you thought it would. Because for years you told yourself, once I get the degree, once I get the role, the promotion, the job, once I make more money, once I become more established, then the anxiety that I'm feeling, it'll go away. But for a lot of women, it doesn't, and it didn't. And in some ways, that anxiety got worse because now you have more responsibilities. You have more bills. You have more people depending on you. You have a lifestyle that requires maintenance. You have a reputation that you feel pressure to uphold, right? I know I'm not the only one because suddenly your job doesn't feel very empowering anymore with all of that. It starts to feel necessary. And that is a completely different emotional experience. Now, I remember talking to a woman who said something I thought was incredibly honest. She said, I don't even know if I love my career anymore or if I'm just terrified of losing the income from it. Because here's the thing, once survival gets attached to something, clarity becomes difficult because every single decision you make, now it feels loaded. So you stay longer than you want to. You tolerate things that you shouldn't. You silence yourself in rooms where you know you should speak up. You keep accepting almost enough because the consequences of disruption, it just feels too expensive for you. And the crazy part is that from the outside, nobody knows. Like nobody even knows that you're going through this. Thank God. We do not look like what we're going through. Amen. People will look at you and think that you're doing amazing. Meanwhile, you're sitting in your car before you go to work and you're trying your hardest to regulate your nervous system. You stare at your laptop exhausted before your day even starts. You calculate how many months you could survive if everything changed tomorrow. You update your resume just in case. You refresh your LinkedIn after layoffs hit another department in your organization. And the whole thing about it is you're trying to look calm, but you realize that what you built your entire life around is just one stream of income. And that realization changes you because once you see the fragility of that, it's impossible to unsee it. It is impossible to unsee it. Does any of that sound like you? I know I've been there. If it sounds like you, just understand that you're not alone. Now, I want to talk about the part that frustrates high achieving women the most. I want to talk about the thing about why intelligent women stay stuck even when they know better, even when they know they could do better. And the answer is incredibly important because smart women, they don't usually fail from lack of capability. They get stuck from overprotection and comfort. So the women who struggle the most to start in this space, they're often the most competent women in the room. They're the planners, the researchers, the women known for excellence, the women everyone else relies on. Because when you built your identity about around being capable, you start to become deeply uncomfortable with the uncertainty of visibility, with being uncertain in public. So instead of moving, you start to endlessly optimize. So you refine your offer or your idea or your business, you prepare, you analyze it, you outline it, you start to consume all the content and all the podcasts and videos and freebies, you brainstorm and you perfect. And all of that feels responsible. But underneath, a lot of it is just fear. It's fear of looking inexperienced or fear of being temporarily average, not permanently average. It's fear of creating something that doesn't immediately reflect the level of excellence that you're used to operating at. And that's fine. But this is also the part where so many women lose years. And it's not because they're not smart enough to build. That's the crazy thing. It's because they're too psychologically attached to looking polished before they start. Any perfectionists in the building? Hello. I have my hand raised for this one. I'm talking to myself right now. But here's what I need you to hear. Every successful woman that you admire, they had a version one, they had a first draft. Every single one of them, including myself. There was an awkward launch. There was a video that got no views. There was a messy first sale, a discovery call where they fumbled their way through. There was an uncertain beginning for that woman. You didn't just see it because success, it edits itself before the world starts to notice. So while you're sitting here at home thinking you need more clarity first, the thing about it is clarity is often a result of motion. It is not a prerequisite for motion. And that is one of the hardest truths for highly intelligent, high achieving women to accept because your intelligence has always rewarded caution for most of your life. Here's the thing about entrepreneurship. It rewards responsiveness. If you are watching this video and you are under the sound of my voice and you are wanting to become an entrepreneur, you are wanting and you are working to break into this space of online business through coaching, consulting, providing a service, digital products, online courses, And if you're taking notes, I want you to write this down, because this is probably the realest thing that I can say in this whole conversation. And that is, entrepreneurship rewards responsiveness. And those are different skill sets. Your job, it rewards precision. Your business is going to reward momentum. Your job rewards certainty. Your business is going to reward adaptability. Your job rewards staying within the confines of a system. Your business, it's going to reward building beyond a system. And a lot of women are knowingly trying to approach building their own income with employee psychology. And that is why you stay frozen. It's two completely different scenarios. Like, you can't play basketball on a baseball field. Now, I want to keep this conversation going. Is it okay if I say something that might sting a little bit? Some women are carrying grief that they haven't fully identified. And it's not grief over something that happened. It's grief over something that isn't happening. It is grief over the version of yourself that you keep postponing. Because eventually there comes a point where the issue is no longer, can you do this? The issue becomes, why are you still abandoning yourself? And that is the real ache underneath all of this for a lot of women. It is not just about the money. I say that all the time. It's the feeling of continuously betraying an inner knowing that you feel. Like, you know you're capable of more. You know you have something valuable. You know you're meant to create something beyond your job title. And every year you don't make a move, something inside of you, it starts to shrink and it just gets quieter. You start to disconnect from your own ambition to protect yourself from disappointment. You tell yourself, oh, it's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Maybe I'll do it later because now is not the right season. I'm too busy. But deep down, you know that's not really true. And eventually, all that avoidance, it becomes painful, because there's a specific kind of exhaustion that comes from repeatedly silencing your own potential. It doesn't come from working hard. It comes from living a misaligned life. And a lot of women are more emotionally tired from suppressing that, and than they are from labor, than they are from doing their job. They are tired of carrying unrealized ideas around for years. They are tired from imagining another life, but they're never fully stepping into that new life. They're tired of negotiating with themselves. They're tired from shrinking dreams into someday. They are tired from pretending that you don't want more because wanting more feels vulnerable. And I need you to hear me, because what I'm going to say very, very carefully. There is nothing selfish about you wanting financial independence, whether that's financial independence from your job, or financial independence from your partner, or financial independence from a situation. There is nothing selfish about that. There is nothing unrealistic about wanting options for yourself, for your future, and for your legacy. There is nothing greedy about wanting ownership over your future. I really want you to hear that, because here's the thing. Women have been taught and conditioned to constantly minimize our desires. We have been taught to just be grateful, to be practical, to be reasonable, to be responsible. But at some point, we have to start asking ourselves whether being realistic has become a socially acceptable way of abandoning our own lives. At some point, we have to get to that. Now, I want you to picture something. I want you to imagine that it is 1 year from today. Nothing dramatic happened. You kept working. You kept thinking about your business. You kept saving ideas in the notes app on your phone. You kept watching content about building your business. You kept saying you were going to start soon, but you never fully moved. So now it's another spring. You have another birthday. Maybe you have another performance review. That's a whole nother year gone. How do you feel? Because we massively underestimate the emotional cost of delay. Massively underestimate that because delay feels harmless because nothing immediately blows up. But over time, delay reshapes your identity. It teaches you not to trust yourself. Every time you say, I'm going to do this, and then you don't, your confidence, it erodes a little bit. And it's not because you're not capable, but because your subconscious starts learning that you don't follow through for yourself. And eventually, women start losing belief in their own ability that they're called to change lives, that you're called to change your own life. And it's not because you failed, it's because you delayed for far too long. Now, let's picture a different version. The same woman, she has the same job, she has the same responsibilities, but this time she finally decides she's done waiting to feel perfectly ready. So she joins the workshop, she builds her offer, she starts messy, she gets visible, she learns in public, she makes mistakes, she learns from those mistakes, she adjusts, and she keeps moving. And 6 months later, maybe she's not a millionaire, but she's different because she feels powerful again, because she proved to herself that she could act. She created evidence. And that evidence, it changes everything. Now, she's not just a woman with ideas, she's a woman in motion. And that right there will change your posture. You'll sit up a little taller. It changes your confidence. It changes the energy that you bring to conversations. It changes your decisions. It changes your standards. And it's because movement literally changes your identity. It literally changes your identity. Now, let me tell you what changes women's lives because it's not motivation. Motivation is inconsistent. It's not confidence either because most people don't feel confident before they start. What changes lives and what's going to change your life is a decision, a clean decision. The kind of decision where you stop negotiating with yourself every day. The kind of decision where you stop asking, should I? And you start asking, how do I? And those are two completely different lives because should I, it keeps you emotionally spinning in circles. But how do I? It creates movement. And once a woman truly makes a decision, once she truly decides, her brain changes. She stops looking for exits. She stops collecting excuses. She stops romanticizing readiness because now she's building. And that is the shift that I want you to understand. And that shift is available to you much faster than you think. Most women are literally just one solid decision away from changing the trajectory of their lives. And it's not because success happens overnight, because it doesn't. It doesn't. It's because self trust starts to rebuild itself immediately. And that is what women start to feel after they finally commit. They feel relief. They don't feel certain. They don't feel perfect. They feel relief. They feel the relief of finally being honest with themselves, the relief of no longer avoiding the thing that's been calling them. Do you have a calling on your life? They feel the relief of realizing I don't need to become a different woman. I just need to stop abandoning the woman that I already am. Do you have a calling on your life? So, Here's the thing that I want to leave you with today. If this conversation hit you emotionally at all, I want you to pay attention to that. Because most women that I talk to, they don't need another sign. They just need to stop ignoring the signs that they've already received. Here's the deal. I don't even know you. I probably have never met you personally. But here's what I know about you. You already know that there's more inside of you. You already know that your future, it cannot entirely depend on one paycheck forever. You already know that you're capable of building something meaningful beyond your job title. So the question is not about awareness. The question is whether you're finally willing to move. And if the answer is yes, I want to personally invite you to Her Income Lab. Registration closes on Friday. This Friday, we meet on May 30th and we will be live for 3 hours. We are going to build your coaching offer together in real time. And here's the thing, this is not about becoming an influencer or a YouTuber or the voice of LinkedIn. And this certainly isn't about quitting your job next month or pretending that entrepreneurship is easy. This is about building options for yourself. This is about building ownership. This is about creating additional income and starting to make movement towards a future that isn't entirely dependent on somebody else's decision. So general registration for Her Income Lab is $147. The VIP is $297. And if you have spent the last year thinking about starting something, thinking about getting into this space, thinking about getting into an online coaching business, this is your moment to stop thinking about your idea and to build it. I literally, in the last week, I went to a conference last week and I talked to at least 4 women who said that they know what it is that they want to coach on and they'll reach out to me when they're ready to build their coaching businesses. So I know they're not the only 4. If that's you, go ahead, click the link, herincomeedit.com/workshop is where you can get all the details about Her Income Lab. And the link is also in the description. If you are going to be at the workshop, drop lab in the comments, LAB. I want to know who's going to be in the room. And also send this episode to the woman in your life who keeps saying she is going to eventually start, because the thing about eventually is it turns into years faster than you realize, okay? I want to thank every single person who showed up on this live. Thank you for showing me love. Thank you for your comments. I see you, AI Art to Assets. Thanks so much for joining. I am here, Nick at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at noon Mountain Time. Noon Mountain Time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I will see y'all in the next one. The link for Her Income Lab is down in the description, or you can visit my website at herincomeedit.com/workshop. All right. I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.